Here we are. Yeah, we're here in full effect. All right. So, we've been talking about arrays, okay, and this far we've checked how to access item from an array, and so now we want to delve a little more into arrays. So let's talk about this here because we know with arrays, again, we can store multiple items in an array, and we also understand that with arrays we have the um the index value, right? So we can uh access an item from the array using the index value, and we know it starts at 0 and it goes all the way to however many items we have in the array minus 1, right? So we can see here, counting arrays, the number of items in arrays is very important, as you would imagine. We want to know how much stuff we have inside of the array. Okay. So how do we do that? We see, let's look here. With small arrays, it can be very easy to count how many items are in the array. Sometimes we can even eyeball it and tell how many items are in the array. Like the arrays that we have here, with the Beatles, only have 4 items. I can look there and see 1, 2, 3, 4. That I can eyeball that, right? But what about arrays with tens, hundreds, thousands, millions, or more items? How can we easily find the number of items in an array when it's in a massive amount, or it's some arbitrary number? Maybe it's not, 5, 10, 20. Maybe it's, 961. Like, you know, that's just an odd number to stop at. So how do we find the number of items inside of an array? Arrays are what we call objects, okay? And we'll discuss in more detail about objects and what that means. But what we need to know right now is that objects have these things called properties, okay? Objects contain properties. One of the properties is something called dot length. And the dot length property tells us how many items are in an array. And we can see right here, Beatles dot length will return the number 4 because there are 4 items in the array. Don't believe me, just watch. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say console.log Beatles.length. And when I do that, there I do get 4. So the dot length property, now I'll make a comment right here. Dot length, it returns the number of items in an array. Okay, so anytime you want to find out how many items are inside of an array, you can use dot length. And this dot length, that again, that lets me know this is a property. Let's explore this a little more. Let's go a little deeper with this. I'm going to, where's my clear? Here you are, clear. I'm going to take this console.clear, I'm going to move this all the way down. So other stuff won't be seen. Okay. Bring it back there. And so right now I've set I've turned on the live server for Visual Studio Code. So my browser will be updating live. If you want to do that, what you'll need to do is you need to add the live server extension. So I click over here, my extensions, and you want to search up here for live server, which looks like this. So live server, you want to search for it and install it. And once it's installed, there will be a little icon that reads go live. And right now you can't see because my big head is in the way, but at the bottom right, there's a little icon and it reads go live. And you just click on that and it's going to open up a live server. So that way the page is updated every time Visual Studio Code is saved. All right. So anyways, back to the lesson. I'm going to do a console on Beatles. So I console.log Beatles. And here I see again the list of Beatles, right? And there's only 4 of them, right? So this one is pretty easy again, a very simple array. And I can see the number 4 there that lets me know how many items are in it. When I open this up inside the console, again, there goes the index value for each one. And then I see this here, this prototype array. This is what I'm looking at right here. When I open this up, here I have a load of properties and methods all right here. And what do these do? Well, with these things, I can do things to the array, and we've already looked at some of them. We know about dot length, okay? We know that one. We also are familiar with push and pop. We've used those. So these are array methods, okay? And a method is simply a property, but it's a function. It does a task. So we looked at pop and push. We've also looked at shift, and we looked at unshift. So those are just some of the methods that are in the array. Okay. So when I say a property or method, that's what I'm referring to. I'm referring to um, these uh, these tools, if you will, that are inside of the array object that allows us to do things to the array. It gives us information about the array. So let's look at this sort one. Okay, we have sort. Sometimes if you don't know what to do, if you have questions about coding, what I like to do is I just go to Google and I'll say sort. I say dot sort JavaScript and I click on it, and they really should give me some money. MDN, the good people at Mozilla, their developer docs. This is where I always go, MDN. And here I can see array.prototype.sort. The sort method of array instances sorts the elements of an array in place and returns the reference to the same array now sorted. Okay, so we can look here. Here's an example. If I say const months, March, January, February, December, and I say months dot sort, and then console it, and it sends this array December, February, January, March. How did it do that? I guess it did it backwards. That's what it looks like, huh? Here we have the array of numbers. And look how the sort returned the numbers. Doesn't do quite like what we thought it would, right? Maybe you would be thinking that it returned the numbers in numerical order 1, 4, 21, 30, and then what is that? 10 million, 1 million, 100,000, 100,000. Now it doesn't quite do that. Let's see. We see how it's sorted them out based upon, I guess, um, I don't even know how I would name this. Yeah, by the first digit. There you go. Thank you. And here we see also there's something else to sort the elements in an array without mutating the original array used to sort it. Okay, so there's another method to sort it. So that, and this is an interesting thing here, because with sort, it mutates the array. And we can see here the default sort order is ascending, but upon converting the elements into strings, then comparing their sequences of UTF-16 code. So I get that explains a lot right there. It takes these numbers and sorts them, it converts them into strings, and then returns, it compares the sequences of the code unit values. That's why we're getting this 1,000, blah, 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 blah. But here it's putting these, the months in alphabetical order. So if I want to come over here and I say Beatles dot sort, okay, so that's going to sort out the Beatles. So I should get, would be George, John, Paul, then Ringo. That's what I'm guessing. Now I'm going to console.log Beatles. After I sort it, George, John, Paul, and Ringo. So yeah, that works. So the dot sort method we see is a easy way for us to sort out our data if we need to do that. If we want to, I suppose, alphabetize it. It gets a little more complex, but that's something that you could do for something quick. Let me comment this out, because I want to look at this other method that it recommends. It says to sort the elements in an array without mutating the original array used to sort it. So I'm going to click on that, and says the to sorted method of array instances is the copying version of the sort method. It returns a new array with the elements sorted in ascending order. So how could I use that? What could I do? I wonder if I could say console.log Beatles.toSorted. Let's see if this works. Again, I should get George, John, Paul, and then Ringo, if that works. Yep. George, John, Paul, and Ringo. So
going from the first character of each name?
Yes, it's going from the first character.
Name of first?
It doesn't know about the last name. It doesn't know anything about a last name. Good question, though. It's looking at the first character, and so it is going to return it based on the first character. So, and then, if the first characters are the same,
Goes by the next character.
correct, it will go by the next character. Also, I would assume that casing would be important as well. Let me see. I'm going to add a Beatle. It's going to be little g. Grover McKenzie. I'm just going to add him right here to the array, and let's see what happens. Up. So it put Grover McKenzie last. Yeah, I guess because it's lowercase. Yes, because again, returns as a string, and it's looking at the first character. So we looked at this yesterday or the other day in the lesson with equality and inequalities with Boolean operators. A capital G has a lesser value than a lowercase g. Right? And all capital letters have a lesser value than lowercase letters. So yeah, this G is less than, well, this capital G is less than the lowercase g. Matter of fact, all of these capital letters, J, P, and R, they have a lesser value than the lowercase g. So Grover McKenzie, the fifth Beatle. Not really, because Billy Preston is, but he'll be placed at the end. Okay, so this is something cool that again, you may need to use these methods to do things with an array. Okay. Um, so how do you do it? Again, what I do, if there's something that I want to know, I have a question, I just go to up here to the address bar, Google, or whatever browser you choose to use. Ask Jeeves if you want to. And I say, hey, dot sort JavaScript. And it will give me the information. And I will go to MDN before I go anywhere else. Or I will choose Stack Overflow if I need to. Or sometimes I'll even go to Free Code Camp. None of these guys are paying me. They should, but they're not. And I'm trying to work on getting my executive producer in the game. So that'd be paying a little bit more because the executive producer is going to want to cut off what I make from these videos. So, I mean, the executive producer may say, hey, Satch, I need 70%, and I got to comply. So pay me. But anyways, so yeah, these are methods, properties, dot length. If I want to find the number of items inside of an array, I could simply use dot length and it'll return that. Also, we looked at push, we looked at pop, shift, and unshift. And you can see here, arrays have plenty more properties and methods. Can't cover them all. It's a lot. But you can look here for more information. Array docs, when you click on my slides that I made, oh, guess where it takes you? To MDN. And you can see here all of the different properties and methods for the array, like include, index of. So we can find the index value of an array. We're going to look at map. We're going to look at slice, I suppose, at some point. We're going to look at for each. We're definitely going to look at that. But these are all, again, properties and methods for arrays. So they're not just leaving you out there on your own, just saying, hey, go build an array, and that's it. There's a lot of things that are built in that developers use quite commonly that you have access to once you build an array. So we'll stop here, okay? And the next video we're going to talk about how do we build the evil robot by giving it the opportunity, the power to make decisions.